Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. This video is all about mid-season pepper care. We're not going to do anything fancy. There is truth that pepper plants like more potassium, more phosphorus towards the middle of the season. You just don't want to be giving them a lot of nitrogen right now. They just don't need it for leaf growth or stem growth. They're doing pretty well. They're starting to flower. But they're getting tall. Weeds are coming in. What do you do mid-season when you're on a budget? Keep in mind that compost is a 111 NPK, well below that. So we don't have to come in here and spend lots of money on specialized fertilizers. We're just going to do a top dressing of any organic granular fertilizer. I'll show you how to do that. Or if you had compost, you could just put that down. That's going to be enough nutrients. We want to come in, you want to do this weekly, but especially now that the humidity is rolling here in Maryland, is you want to just look through the plants. And these look great. Nice and green, very few holes in there, no marks on the leaves. There's no need to spray right now unless you have a specific disease that rolls in about this time. The plants look really healthy. Peppers are kind of fragile, so we're going to stake them. I have jalapenos in here. Those are the smaller plants. They'll get stakes that are about 2 feet, 3 feet. And I have poblanos in the middle, which can get up to 4 feet tall. They'll get larger stakes. No diseases on here, no need to spray. Just going to clear out the bottom, remove bottom leaves. I want the airflow in there. I don't want these sitting in Maryland's humidity through the rest of July and August, and getting a problem. So let's start with clearing out the bottom, removing some of the leaves. So maybe 10 minutes. I've opened up the bottom just by removing the weeds. We haven't even pruned the pepper plants yet. And that's going to make a big difference just to reduce the humidity, the moisture around the pepper plants. And then coming around this way, I haven't gotten to this side yet, but you could see sort of what it looks like. Lots of weeds in there. I'm going to remove that. These are actually shishitos. As I was in there, I did find some jalapenos. These are definitely shishitos. I'll show you the peppers, but look how the plants are falling over. So they do need to get staked up. Let me clear out this space, and we'll come back and we'll talk about removing leaves from the bottom of the pepper plants. Everything's been weeded out for the most part. I'll come back and clean up some more of the weeds as I'm putting down mulch. Mulch is the other thing you want to do, and this is what I call green gold. Grass clippings where you haven't sprayed or put down any chemicals are perfect. We're just going to lay down nice and fluffy about an inch. When this totally dries out, turns brown, is completely dry, we'll put down another inch. And this is going to help conserve water in here. This is going to break down over time, not right away, give back NP and K to the garden, but it's also going to provide food for worms and soil life, and it's a win-win situation. This is one of the best things you can use, as long as it's untreated, in your garden. Coming around this side, I've finished weeding out this area. Again, the airflow is already better. And when I looked in here, these are shishitos and jalapenos, which are nice because those are pretty big for jalapenos. They might be mammoth variety. Now that I forgot completely what I was growing, thought I had some poblanos in there. The plants, shishitos, are more fragile than some varieties of peppers. So you always do want to stake them to a post just to provide support. You can just see how these are all flopping over. And if it gets windy enough or something like that, they're going to break. So I'm going to secure them to the bamboo stakes. And here's a large shishito that I knocked off. So I have the shishitos, I have jalapenos, and all I do is just really tie them lightly with some jute, to the pole or to the post or whatever, and that'll be perfect. So let me finish that going down here. Just to give you a quick idea of how I'm doing this. The pepper plant has a single stem coming up, and then this guy branches off into like 3 stems, one going this way, and you can see that I loosely tied it right up there. So this branch is getting supported. There's another one that comes up this way, right where my middle finger is, and it branches over to there, and I tied that, so that has support. And then there's a third one right over here that has support. So it's 3 loops supporting the the main 3 branches. And then I have all this growth down here. These plants are large enough that I'm going to remove, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches of the leaves right here. And these are the leaves that I removed from the bottom, and that's the start. I'll remove more later as the pepper continues to grow. But that's the general principle I'm going to apply going all the way down here. This is 3 days after the video you're watching, and I just wanted to show you what difference it makes. The sunlight is getting into the plants from all sides. My plants are spaced about a foot apart going this way. 2 plants in some of the holes, you can do that. And then maybe 18 inches in between. This creates enough space so that the airflow is there, the sun can get in. Things are getting a little bit thick in there, so I will come back in, I don't know, about a week, thin some of that out. But you just want to keep the airflow going, and you can see it better down there. I'm not really too worried about those plants, but this is what staking does. I have the mulch down, the plants look really good, and they're just going to get stronger now because they're getting more sunlight in there for growth. And the diseases and pests should be less of an issue because I'm maintaining them better and I can really get in and check them. And more importantly, I can see that I have tons of shishitos right there, jalapenos instead of those poblanos, but I have so much growing in there that I otherwise really just didn't see. I thought this might be helpful too. As the pepper, branches out and is growing upward, it's going to branch again, usually into 2 or to 3. When you are staking it off, tying it to the post, you don't want to wrap your string below that because it's going to very easily just slide down and it's not going to do anything really at all. So you want to get it into the V right in there, just around one of the branches that are coming off that stem, and that will stay in place and that will support it. And then when this gets to maybe about here, I'm going to tie it off again and continue to do that as long as it's needed. But it's really important not to tie your string around the bottom of all 3 of these, or it's just going to slide down here and it's not going to provide any kind of use to the pepper plant. So the peppers here is a nice, main stem, couple branching stems. We have 2 or 3 there, 2 back there. The shishitos over here, this one got topped off. The main stem broke off, and you can see like all this growth, and it's just made for sort of a mess of a plant. It was laying down, it was filling up this whole space. So was that one right there, but I mean, look at all the beautiful shishitos. I didn't even know they were there because I wasn't really taking care of this well. These should have been staked up, earlier, and then I can kind of control the growth better. So the goal here, instead of, nice little ties like that, I am just bringing in loops of jute and tying the stems to the bamboo stake here, and I just want this to start growing upward, and I'll gently guide it. Lots of dense leaves in here. You don't have to worry about removing those now, but leaves that are covered by the outer leaves, like way deep inside there, they're not really getting any sun. They're just a place really for disease and for pests to take hold. But first, I want to open up the space like this. This way the sunlight's coming in and getting the entire plants. That's going to help you grow better plants. It's not so much about the fertilizer we're going to put down shortly, but it's really maximizing the sunlight in there, getting the airflow going, and let photosynthesis do its trick. But I just wanted to show you, you can end up with something like this. Perfection is not the name of the game. Just tie the peppers up, and then over the next weeks you can straighten them up and remove more leaves. I also took off from the bottom a couple of stems. There were more coming out like this. They just weren't necessary, so I did remove those. Mostly I try and remove leaves, but sometimes it's okay to remove out, complete stems. Still lots of production out of the shishitos. So it is getting late, it's getting dark, so I'm going to actually stop here. I'll finish the rest in the morning. But I've staked up 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 pepper plants, and in some cases I have 2 plants growing in there. So there's a lot of peppers in there. But the space is now open. That's what I was going for. And look at the beautiful jalapenos. I've got some mammoth varieties in here. I didn't even know I had those. So I was behind by a good 10, 14 days and getting these staked. And some of them look good, like that one looks pretty good. That one over there, right there, is a mess. Don't worry about it. You just want to get them attached to the stake, growing upright, and I'll come in later and I'll prune out some of the center mass of these pepper plants. And if you want to subscribe and follow me, I'll show you how I continue to care for these. Because the leaves look so good, there's no need to spray. So the next thing is the mid-season top dressing. Any organic granular fertilizer, dry fertilizer, doesn't matter what it says. This one's plant tone. It's a 5-3-3 NP and K. As long as those numbers are, you know, around the 5-5-5, you're perfectly fine. If you can find something with lower nitrogen, that's great. That means you'll get less leaf growth, higher potassium, whatever, higher phosphorus. But you're not going to overfeed your plant using this. This is going to take time to break down over the weeks and months. It has to be broken down by soil biology. And what I do really for top dressing at this point is just scatter it right down the middle like that. And I will do the same thing right there, another one right there, and I will just go all the way down. Leaving the pepper leaves on the ground, they're going to get covered up with an inch of grass clippings. The grass clippings will break down, and this bed will just continually get nice amounts of organic fertilizer, but also organic matter, and that's what's really most important for the health of your soil and for the health of your plants. Let me finish the fertilizer. I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll do the grass clippings. You don't have to be exact. You just don't want to pile it near the main stem of the pepper plant. Scatter it out there. You can scratch it in if you want. We're going to be putting the grass on there. It's going to stay moist. You could water it in now. Just soak it down. The water helps kind of activate it. Microbes move in, and you know, the decomposition starts, so your plants will slowly get that NP and K. The next thing is you just want to take grass clippings and about an inch. You do want to scatter it like this, really get the air in there, because if it's matted down, it's going to smell bad. It just heats up and it smells terrible. If you fluff it, something like this, it'll dry quickly, it'll brown out, and then you can put another inch of grass on there. But this will feed back to the plants too. Not this month, but you know, 6 weeks down the line, it'll be breaking down. Worms will move into here. They will eat organic matter. They will excrete worm castings, which are great for your plants, and you're just keeping the whole life cycle going nicely. All right, let me just finish this space up for the conclusion. This is pretty much what I try and do with my pepper plants come July. Should have started a little bit earlier, like when the plants were maybe as small as they were on the end. Just makes staking a little bit easier. You can see how it's pretty dense there. Everything's together. And then as we moved down to removing about 6 inches of the bottom leaves, staking up the peppers, we have all that airflow in there now. And I think they look really, really good. Now, again, this guy's a bit of a mess. Just let it go. The plant leaves will turn towards the sun. Then you can get in there, thin them out as you wish. Also found, or knocked off actually, some shishitos and jalapenos that I'll be using for dinner tonight. Here's just a quick look. But what you're really trying to do is something like this, and just have that airflow going through here, and it makes a big difference for managing pests and diseases in your pepper plants, and really any plant. Airflow is really, really key. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com and subscribe. I'll show you how I take care of the peppers here, do some harvesting with them, and I also just shot a video on harvesting all the potatoes that you see there and how you plant them again for July. Actually, you can continually plant potatoes over the season, more so than just plant them once in the spring. Thanks so much for watching.